even say it's a woman thing. I will
Hmm.
say these days people are more willing to relinquish control.
That's a problem. That, that's a
Yeah,
that's a
I
that's a now,
and
now
and
I will say this. That's a problem because
it is.
now if you consider your we'll call them your queen, your lady, your
Mhm,
significant other as your partner.
mhm.
No, and I just want to add that caveat. That's not an issue, but we've got situations where our queens, our women, females are telling our men how to conduct themselves as kings, right? Tell them where they should go, tell them how they should get there, tell them how they should dress, tell them how they should act, tell them, no, that's not how it works. That is not how that we for and I know we're getting off topic as far as how to
No,
heal
we're on
from a
topic.
relationship, but kings, we are not here to be a servant to a queen, so to speak, for them to teach us how to be a king. Now it's different when you're a parent. It's different when you're in an educational sense. It's different in certain aspects of
Yeah,
education.
it's all about context.
Yeah, but you and I'm going to talk to the fellas in a second here. Is that you can't expect females to teach us how to be kings, and then the kings expecting the females to submit. It does not work that way. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And
So
and I feel like
I'd agree. I'd
okay,
agree, but I'd also say, and we're talking about healing still,
yeah. Well,
but it's
I'll get
all
back to that.
related.
It's all
It's
related.
all related though. It's all related though. Like I said, we often relinquish control in a relationship, and then because we relinquish control, and mind you, I'm not saying
So
that you control.
talk about why control is relinquished. Talk about why, and also do you agree with it? That's kind of what
So
I
the
want to.
why is pretty simple. I
Mhm.
mean, it's because it's scary to have that much control.
Mhm.
Like
Is it a lack of
there's a
trust?
there's a it's a lack of trust in
Mhm.
ourselves and in other people. It's a lack of trust of the world. It's that fear again, right? But that's the thing. We were talking about it earlier. Like if we are kings, queens, rulers of all that we come across, all that sort of stuff, that means we're responsible as well.
Mhm.
And nobody likes to think that they are responsible for everything that happens to them, right? And I'm not saying that there aren't random things that occur and all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we I spoke to it a little bit earlier. We limit ourselves and we limit the amount of power we have because the idea that we do have all this power frightens us. Now, there are some people who recognize the power they have and they misuse it. And then there are some people who recognize the power they have and they use
I
it
agree. I
to
agree. I
better
was
the
just about to
people
say,
around
yeah,
them.
there are
You know,
times where you
that
said, yeah, there are times where you said a man has all this control, but doesn't treat
he
doesn't treat her correct.
exactly.
And then that's always the vice
And
versa. A woman has all this control, but doesn't treat him right.
exactly.
Yeah,
That comes from, like you said, the lack of healing, the lack of because let's be real about it.
I think it's lack of initiative. I think it's a
Lack of
strong lack
initiative,
of
but
initiative. Like, oh well, I don't want to
it's
do it. She'll do it. You know what I mean?
it's that, but again, we're relinquishing the control. And I
Yeah.
think the reason we do it is because, yes, fear, all of that sort of stuff is because all right, I'm gonna back up a little bit. And again,
Okay.
I'm gonna pivot back. When we are young, we we learn the world by touching, by feeling, by all of this sort of stuff, right? But when we're young, we're fearless.
And
We're not afraid of anything. We
I think
don't
when we,
know enough. We
but
don't know enough to be afraid. right?
Correct, but I think that goes towards it. It goes towards how we were. It goes back to a generational curse of how we
Exactly.
were raised.
Generational curses, how you were
How we're
raised, all of
raised.
that
We're
sort of
afraid
stuff.
because we see our parent, whether a single mother,
Fear
single
is
father.
conditioned. Fear is
Fear
not
is
something
conditioned.
we are. Now, there are instinctual things that we recognize as dangerous, and that's fine. I'm not discounting those things. But fear is something that is conditioned in
But
us.
fear can be
Like,
entrenched from the way we were brought
yes,
up, also, right? And
yeah,
it's hard to
that's what
break
I'm
that
saying.
general
I'm
curse. Yeah,
strictly talking about when we're young right now,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
When we're young, we're fearless. We literally sprint through the world. Children are always running around.
But we're
They are
protected.
always
But they're protected.
they are protected because we as adults protect them. But
Correct.
by
Yeah,
do
yeah.
through the means in which we do that are often by instilling fear. It's like,
Or
don't
who's
touch
instilling
that,
the?
that'll hurt you.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
do that, that's
yeah.
bad for you. Don't. So we go through that, and then
Mm.
we inherently, through conditioning, we start limiting ourselves. We start, like, now, if like a child will literally just go see somebody do a cartwheel and be like, I want to try that, and they'll go
Yeah.
try and do a cartwheel. They
And
may
some
bust
adults
their
are
head
acting like
wide
that
open.
too.
Exactly. They may bust their head open, but
Yeah,
they want to try it. And them
yeah,
busting their head open might then teach them, okay, this can potentially hurt me. But we rarely, well, at least some people don't get the room to do that,
and that's
right?
where a lot of men and women as adults see relationships. They see, oh, this person's happy, that person's happy, and don't have the knowledge or even communicate. What are you doing within that relationship? I want to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they see it goes back to the attraction, how she looks, how she's dressed. We pinpoint the outer appearances
We
based off of,
pinpoint the things that are tangible, the things that we can
yeah,
see in
yeah,
order to, what's it called? In order to, what's it called? In order to determine this is the path we should go, this is the
yeah,
decision we should make, this is the route we
yeah,
should take, yada yada
yeah,
yada yada.
yeah. The
but
tangibles, yep.
but like, as men, we don't talk about healing often. We don't talk about, well, it's starting to become a thing now, but we don't talk about, yo, this woman cheated on me, and
Before
it left me.
that was an unwritten rule to talk about, right? That wasn't
Yeah,
no
you
man,
don't
no
talk
man would
about
come
it.
out, you don't talk about it. But I
Yeah,
think
and if
now,
she cheated on, and if she did cheat on you, it wasn't, oh brother, like, all right, come, let's talk about it. How did it
nah,
make you feel? And
nah,
it's not that. It's
nah,
like, nah, man, there's 100 women in the sea. Go out
yeah,
and knock you one down as a rebound, and then
yeah.
you be back on it.
You
And
be
it's
good,
like,
you
not,
good. And
and that's not
and that type of situation is correlated with mental health too. I think now it's starting to
exactly.
become, yeah, it's becoming a
But
mentality and a mental disease that when someone you invest in love steps out on you, it's an emotional disconnect to like,
mhm.
wow, you've got men and women killing themselves because of this situation.
But
You know, and we
that's
never talk
where
about
mhm.
why it's gotten to that point. Like
But
if someone were to come in and say, hey, I know what you've been through. I know your wife or significant other or whoever cheated on whatever side, men and women cheated on you.
mhm.
Are you okay? Are
Yeah,
you,
we won't ask, are you okay? If it's on the
exactly.
man's side, it's if it's on the man's side and a woman cheats on you, it's like, oh, then you were slipping, dog. That shouldn't have happened
Yeah,
to you. What did
yeah,
you do
yeah,
wrong? Yada yada
yeah,
yada.
yeah.
And if but meanwhile, the thing is, when you this is for me at least, all of that comes from a place of lack, infidelity, in what's it called, insecurity, in all of the isms, all the ends, all of that sort of stuff comes from a place where you are lacking something, and that's internal. That's not. So we have an internal problem, but we keep seeking all these external solutions to the internal problem, and
Mm,
we don't ever address the internal
yeah. That
because
goes
we
back
don't
to
know how
patterns. Yeah,
to. Yeah,
yeah,
because we've never learned how to, and the only way we've been told how to is external. externalize, externalize, externalize. When we're angry, we externalize, we strike out. We don't, when we're sad, this is for most men. We cry out. We Everything is external. And yes, I understand there are times and places where you need to just get stuff out. I'm not saying keep everything in, but you have to do the work internally to heal. And wrapping
Right.
it back around to that conversation we had about being a ruler, ruling everything, creating your own destiny, you have to love yourself enough and know yourself well enough to be willing to give yourself that space. Because
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, there are times when I have genuinely been in pain. And the thing I told myself was, bruh, this, like, why you even, like, you don't need to heal. You just need to get up and go do the thing. Like,
Yeah.
stop dealing with it. Stop
Yeah.
thinking about it. Just, this
Yeah.
isn't. And
So you
I
know when you
don't.
are in pain, it helps you understand not to have that feeling again. That's the
Exactly.
point where I think if it would have resulted in you having to go, let's even say, go get a jump off to
Hmm.
alleviate and take away the pain, it's like it's temporary. It's
Yeah,
like
it is temporary.
taking a Tylenol. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It
You
alleviates the
haven't
pain.
addressed the actual
You haven't
issue.
addressed the problem. And if you continue doing the same things over and over, you're not healing from it. All you're doing is
Hmm.
seeking the same things that you may have had in that relationship. But what makes it worse is that you can slip up and have 18 years with this person you have no intention to be with that long, right?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so it's just one of those things where, fellas, it's okay to take some space from women. It's okay to be self-aware on how to heal yourself. Because
Hmm.
once you've healed yourself, you're putting out in the air that you're healthy. You're at a clear mindset. You're freeing yourself of those
Hmm.
negative thoughts. You're unloading that baggage, right?
Hmm.
And you got to be clear and aware in the fact that when you scratch yourself and you got a bad scratch, you're putting a band-aid over it, right? But if you're really trying to, and I know it's maybe a bad analogy, but who cares? But if
Yeah.
you're actually sitting there, you're putting a little Neosporin on there. You're getting the alcohol wiping and cleaning off the infection, whatever it may be,
Hmm.
and then you're making sure it's nice and clean, and you're putting the Band-Aid over it. You're putting in the work. You're putting in
Hmm.
the process to heal, whether that may be
Hmm.
therapy, whether that may be encouragement from friends, because that can also
It
determine
can help.
who it can help. It can determine who's really in your circle, based
Hmm.
off of the advice you're getting from friends, right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
then just being able to understand those type of women and men that come into your circle that are giving you the same results that you've gotten from a toxic relationship potentially, or even a good relationship. You know how to handle it. You know how to be like, I'm not going down that road with you again. Or like,
Hmm.
hey, how you doing? You learn from that mistake, you learn from that situation, you better yourself. Because when you're with someone that's willing to work with you and help you and support you and encourage you and treat you like a king just as much as you're going to treat her like a queen,
Hmm.
that's the relationship. And you've
Yeah.
healed from past relationships. So my next question is, we're kind of going to go into our next segment. How do you recover from a relationship, right? How do you recover from a relationship? And that goes to my
I mean,
and
I
I'll say
think,
this. Go ahead.
I mean, so here's my clarifying question. What would you say the difference is between healing from a relationship and recovering from a relationship?
I think the difference is that when you're healing from a relationship, you're still putting in the work. You're still putting in the work to heal that wound, right?
Hmm.
Now, when you've recovered from a relationship, meaning that the wound is healed, and what are you now doing to now be self-aware that you're not going to repeat the same cycle again, right? How do you recover
Okay.
from a relationship? Meaning, what have you learned from that relationship?
Okay. There we go. All
You
right.
know,
So
what are
letting
some
go
things
of,
that you can do? What are some things you can improve upon to not be? Because let's be honest here, right? There's a difference between a 20, 21, 23 in their 20s healing themselves than it is someone that's really inspiring, looking to be in a relationship, maybe in their late 20s, maybe in their early 30s, 40s, even 50s. There's a difference. It's just a difference
mhm,
of how people heal, right?
mhm,
It's just you've got to be able to find your way of healing, right? So now it's how do you recover? How do you recover psychologically, right?
mhm,
So this is some things you can do, you know, and we kind of spoke on this. Put yourself in a circle that, you know, understand your circle. If you got a crowd of friends that's constantly, you know, negative, that's constantly, you know, telling you that, you know, you can do better, you can do better than that person. Yeah, that's true psychologically, but it's a difference between me telling you you can do better than you actually understanding and realize how you can do better, right?
mhm,
Sometimes changing the mindset of who you are, because we as kings and queens evolve every day. How
mhm,
could we change the pattern of behavior we did yesterday into today? Today is a new day,
mhm,
so it's a new me. So how can you recover? Meaning that prepare yourself, prepare, you know, your mindset that, you know, I'm going to say this to this person every day. Challenge yourself, challenge your mindset, challenge who you've got people around. You know what I mean?